Hi, everyone. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. Welcome to today. We're talking about the blessing and curse of I am doing the best I can. I had a really interesting and fun thing happen to me, which was I asked the angels, I really want you to show me an example of when this is happening in my life, or let me be the observer when this could be happening in someone else's life. And no sooner did I say that than sure enough. So I have a story for you coming up later on. But first, let's take a look at what it really means when you say, I'm doing the best I can. It can be used as your blessing or as your curse, and I want to make sure that we're really using this phrase or believing that we're doing the best we can when we truly are, and we're not using it as an excuse. So let's take a look at how our guides define this, and then I'll tell you my story, and of course I want to hear all of your stories about what's happening for you and how we as a group can make your life better. Again, I do encourage everyone to participate because it's so much better when we do things together. The question that you have or the concern that you're going through is probably exactly what someone else is going through, and they may not be bold enough to speak up. So please bring your comments and your questions. But let's begin with what my guides have to share with us about the blessing and the curse of I'm doing the best I can. Dear ones, there are always two sides to every event, and that's why we always tell you that it's the way you choose to view something that determines how it will affect you. Right off the bat, this is so important. Remember, it's not what's happening. It's the way you look at it. If you can get into the habit of saying to yourself, everything that's happening is for my highest good, life will be so much better. Instead of, oh my gosh, why is this happening? Just look past the immediate, look into the situation, excuse me, and remind yourself, everything that's happening is for my highest good. When you look at the phrase, I'm doing the best I can, you have the opportunity for praise or avoidance. In the first instance, you would be proud of yourself because instead of giving up, you're making an effort. You're pushing yourself to go beyond what you perceive to be your limitations. Once you've accomplished something toward your goal, even if it's not perfect, you can look upon your effort with pride and remind yourself you're doing the best you can. I forget who said it. It was a philosopher that said, don't make perfect the enemy of the good. Just because you can't do something perfectly, don't use it as an excuse for not to try at all. When you're making an effort to achieve, of standing still and blaming the circumstances for your lack of initiative, again, you're doing the best you can. In other words, you've taken what you have and you've done something with it from wherever you may have started. Remember, free will says you may choose to do nothing about an unpleasant circumstance, but complain about it. You will, of course, receive more unpleasantness and the opportunity to continue complaining, or you can get up and accomplish something of merit, even if you have little to work with. Again, we want to remind you that that which appears little to you may be a fortune to someone else. So you must make every effort to move forward with what you have from where you are. Establish a can-do attitude instead of a can't-do attitude, and you'll be doing the best you can. Let's go back for a minute and look at this, that which appears very little to you. let's assume that you are in a circumstance that has become greatly reduced from where you used to be. Perhaps it is money or social status or amount of friends that you have around you. Don't get caught up in what used to be. Instead, do what you can with what you have from where you are. None of you are going to race to the finish line overnight. All of you are going to have to make small gains that will move you ahead until you've gained sufficient momentum to fly. But none of you are going to move yourselves into alignment by sitting and doing nothing, or worse, sitting and endlessly complaining about how bad your situation has become. Doing the best you can means that you're taking charge of your life. You're putting in the effort to change the mental landscape. You've done the work to clear the limiting beliefs, and you've begun exposing all information to your internal truth meter. This means you won't swallow every idle thought whole without dissecting it first to see if holding that thought and participating in that belief will move you forward into unconditional love or keep you a prisoner of judgment and fear. In the United States where I live, we've got a lot of turmoil going on, and it would be so easy to get into a fear place. Run it through your internal truth meter. Understand that which is happening is not necessarily something to be afraid of. It may just be a deep clearing. Many things during this shift into a higher state of consciousness, this planetary ascension, are coming up, are being exposed so they can be dealt with. We can see what's been happening, and we can choose not to participate in it any longer. So don't get into the habit of complaining about how bad the economy is or the scandals are just so terrible. Instead, look at what's really going on and get into the habit of saying, hallelujah, now we can really do something about this stuff that was hidden for all this time. Remember, we're moving from the competitive mind into the cooperative mind, and that means that bad behavior is being exposed and held up to be shown. This is not something you want to participate in. If you find yourself fearing the outcome, don't automatically assume you have reason to be afraid. Instead, first ask yourself, is this true or just my imagination working overtime? Often when we first hear about a situation that can be really uncomfortable, we want to jump into fear and we forget to find out if it's even true. But let's assume that you looked at it and it was true, or you didn't look at it and you just jumped into fear. Instead of allowing the fear to take you over, go into the heart, eliminate the fear, and begin asking the divine to show you the solution. There's an answer to every problem, but the answer depends on where you are presently in your spiritual evolution. If you're caught in fear, excuse me, it's going to be impossible to hear the answer. That does not mean that Source is choosing not to answer you. It simply means that you've chosen to close yourself off from the information that's coming forward because you've attached yourself to fear. So get into the heart and lose the fear. When you choose to take action in the direction of the highest solution possible for your situation, you are doing the very best you can. However, you have an alternate choice. You can refuse to do anything of value or anything that will move you forward and claim that's all you're capable of doing. In this case, you would also be able to say, I'm doing the best I can. But you would have limited your best to be very little, and you would be using your situation or circumstances as an excuse not to do better. Now remember, I used to teach elementary school. I've been subjected to these excuses when my kids did not want to do something. But you know, just as I did, when somebody is telling you or you're telling yourself, I don't want to do it, so I'm going to pretend that I'm doing the best I can. When you use the phrase this way, you're simply looking for a reason that no one, including yourself, should expect anything from you. In this instance, you've decided that you want to play small, and you won't rise to the occasion to do more with what you have. In this scenario, you've decided to do less, make no effort, take no positive action, and make no attempt to get in alignment with the solution. You're asking yourself and others to accept that that's all you're capable of because you're doing the best you can. Only you know when you're using your best as an excuse. You may even garner sympathy and support in the beginning by claiming that you're unable to do better because you're already doing the best you can. However, if you've chosen to do less while claiming you're doing more, it will soon become apparent to even the most casual observer, and the sympathy you garnered at first will quickly devolve into disdain. You cannot fool all of the people all of the time. You're going to be called out either by your own circumstances or by others around you. You'll be labeled the one that's not willing to try, to pull your weight, or to take the help offered and do something with it. People will quickly become tired of your attitude of dependency, and you'll find yourself alone while you loudly protest, I'm doing the best I can. In this particular instance, you weren't. You were using it as an excuse so you could get other people to do what you're perfectly capable of doing, and nobody wants to pull your weight for you. Perhaps they will for a while, but at some point, they're going to bail on you. So begin today by doing the best you can, your best. We want you to excel in your journey. We do not, nor should you, expect that everything you attempt will be perfect right from the start. You will learn more from doing it wrong and getting up to try again than you will sailing upon the smooth seas of success after success. Celebrate those apparent failures. They're the key to your future success. Don't dwell on what went wrong, but dig deep and analyze the parts that went right, because that's where you need to put your focus. Let go of I made a mistake and get excited about what you did right. Examine what failed. It is useful information, but don't dwell in that place. Understand what didn't work and then go about doing its opposite or doing that which you did successfully previously. Learn to use the information you gained moment by moment as building blocks. Lay a solid foundation of what's right and stand upon it as you begin exploring the next level. You may again encounter a challenge or a setback. Take from that situation what worked and either discard or improve what didn't. Now use that knowledge as the next step in your staircase to success, and so on. Every time we are moving up in our spiritual consciousness, in our awakening process, so that we are becoming more and more aware of what we are capable of, we have a period of time when we're not completely in one level and we're not completely out of the other level. I always refer to this as the staircase because when you're climbing a staircase, you have one foot on the top step and one foot on the bottom step, and for a while, that foot that was on the bottom step is sort of in midair, and you can feel a little lost and confused because your new way of being isn't completely familiar yet. That's okay. Build on what you know has worked for you in the past, or begin exploring something new. Take a moment to look at that which isn't working and figure out why, and then quickly move past it. Don't get stuck on this isn't working and that's not working and everything I do isn't working and I'm trying and I'm doing the best I can. No, you're not. You're stuck in what's not working and using it as an excuse for why you can't do better. Get in there. Dig in. Get yourself really familiar with what's working so that you can understand how to move forward. Take a look at what didn't work. Take apart the pieces. When I did this, I went forward. When I did this other thing, I stood still or felt like I was sliding backward. Okay, don't do that again. But don't sit there and complain. When you build by constantly improving your mental landscape and continue to clear the heart of limiting beliefs and negative thinking, we will agree you really are doing the best you can. Remember, no one believes that it's going to be perfect or that you're going to be perfect all the time. If you were perfect, you would be here either as an ascended master, a guru on the hill, so clearly beyond the rest of us that it would be immediately apparent that you were not here to improve on anything that you had already gotten it all. So for the rest of us who are still learning and growing and excited about what life has to share, we need to just stay open in every way possible to the lesson, to the understanding of what's being shared. There's so much that we can learn. There's so far that we can go. We just have to remember to stay open and not limit ourselves by telling us the story of, well, I failed before, so if this circumstance comes up again, I'll just do the best I can, but I know I'm not going to do well. You're right. You're always right. If you tell yourself you can or you tell yourself you can't, you are right. So just to recap what they shared with us, remember that all-important perspective. If you say you can or you say you can't, you are 100% right. So if you find that your ego is really kind of kicking up a storm, sit down and have a conversation with it and say, ego, you're always right. You are 100% right. Allow the ego to subdue, to get calm and to get quiet, to understand that you're not moving against it because it's always right. Then drop into your heart and say, now that the ego has settled down a little bit, and I know that I'm always right, in which direction do I choose to be right? Do I choose to be right in the direction of, I can't do anything, poor me? Or am I choosing to be right in the hooray, I can do absolutely anything As long as I give myself permission, time, patience, I persevere, I really discover how to do this. I don't set these artificial limits that say, if I don't learn it today, I'm hopeless and worthless and I quit. Remember, your focus is going to determine your outcome. It's not the circumstance that's throwing you off. It's how you're choosing to view it and how you're choosing to view yourself. So keep your focus on, I can do anything I give myself permission to do or I choose to do. Just let go of, I can't. It's the same thing as saying, I won't. So when you hear yourself saying, I can't, change that in your mind and say, oh, this is something that I am refusing to do. I'm saying I won't do this. When you're saying I can, you're saying this is something I'm going to do my very best. I'm going to try. I'm going to go all in. And I'm giving myself permission to succeed. But don't limit yourself to perfection. It might get messy. You may need to take a risk you might fail. You might go belly up. But you will have learned something along the way, even if it's what not to do. So go for it. Dive right in. The worst that could ever happen is that you fall on your face. But what if it turns out wonderfully well? You'll never know if you don't try. And don't become discouraged if you don't see the whole picture right away. Oftentimes, we're not at a place in our intellectual, emotional, or spiritual understanding where we can see the benefit of what's happening or how this is going to work out or the end of the equation. We grow in increments. We can only take small steps that move us forward. But those small steps help us build a strong foundation, and that's what we want. If you try to jump ahead and, well, let's go back for a second. Again, I used to teach elementary school. If I were to say to these kids, I'm going to teach you how to multiply, but we've never discussed addition, and you don't really know what these numbers stand for, I could expect that given enough time, they would memorize the multiplication tables. But they would never understand the process of multiplication. And so they may never be able to do higher math because they have no understanding of the process. However, if I'm a good teacher, I'll make sure they understand what each number means, how much each number represents. Then I'll work on them with addition. And then I'll show them adding more than one number together. Oh, look, we have this big string of numbers that's all the same. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. How many twos? 2, 2, 2, 2. 5 twos. We can either sit here and add them all up, or we can speed it up with multiplication. If I had taught them first that 2 means 2 pieces, that adding 2 and another 2 means the 2 pieces of each one become 4, they would have a bedrock foundation, and when I shared with them multiplication, they would understand what they're doing. That's what I want you to do. Lay that foundation of understanding before you try to go tackle higher thought, and you will be so much more likely to succeed. You may still have a time when things feel a little complicated. That's okay. Find the part inside it that you do understand and Go from there. Build on the part that you do understand, and then get curious about the other part. Ask somebody who may have been through the experience. Read about it, learn about it, take a class about it. Dive into a course. There's wonderful material out there. Google is an unending source of information. So don't just say, oh, I don't know and I can't do it. Dive in first and see what you do know. Understanding that at some point with this information, no matter what it is, it can be the spiritual journey or just in your learning, you're going to hit critical mass. And suddenly you're on turbo speed because you've laid that solid foundation. And you can now absorb much more complicated ideas than you ever could in the past. So important, though, that you lay that foundation. Oh, and I forgot to share with you, speaking of foundations, I am teaching this Sunday, the 25th, and next Saturday, the 31st, just so we don't bump into Easter, a foundational course that I wish I had when I was beginning. I so wish I had these tools when I was just beginning my spiritual journey. Instead of having to go through reams and reams of material and just pick out little pieces that worked for me, I wish I had a course like this. So that's what I'm sharing with all of you. It became so magnificent, so wonderful, and so big that I had to divide it up into the two different sessions. But either one can be taken alone. The biggest benefit, of course, is to take the entire thing. It is going to give you so many wonderful tools that you will be able to use day in and day out. And with all of these techniques that I'm sharing with you, you don't have to buy anything to make them work. So there are no crystals, there are no cards, there's no spray or candle. If you have all that, great. Use it whenever you want to. But I wanted to give you something that is just between you and you. And you don't have to be reliant on any outside thing. So no matter where you are, you will be able to use these tools and these techniques to move successfully and joyfully through everything that might come up. So I got off on a complete tangent. I forgot to tell you about that in the beginning. Back to our subject. Just remember that limiting yourself out of fear will only bring sorrow in its wake. It'll never keep you safe, and you'll never be truly happy. And it's just not worth it. We're always safe and secure. Source is always with us. There is never a time when the Creator looks at you and says, oh, well, you're not measuring up today, so you're out. Come back when you can do better. You're always safe and secure. Yes, there will be times when it feels like nobody's got your back. But that's just a lie, and you need to stop telling yourself that lie. It's not going to make you stronger. It's just going to weaken you. And it's not going to keep you safe. Hiding in the corner doesn't keep you safe. It just makes you more vulnerable. We are always free to choose. But remember, universal law prevails, so you're never free from your consequences. If you make a bad choice, if you say, I won't go out and do this thing that I know that I'm supposed to do, I know I'm being called into this place or this situation, or I can see that this would really benefit my growth, but I'd really rather just stay in the corner and pretend I didn't know that this was happening. If you do that, you're not going to be free of the consequences. You are still going to have to pay the price for whatever decision you make. So I want you to begin making the best choices so that you really are doing the best that you can and not hiding behind that excuse and then feeling badly when things get worse and worse and worse, which is what they will do when we are being asked to grow. We are often given the opportunity to grow, and then we might say no, or I'll do it later, or not right now. And you'll notice that your circumstances become more and more intense with the idea in mind that you will finally agree to taking that leap of faith, to doing the growth that you need to do. But don't forget, we always have that internal truth meter. And that will help you determine the validity of a thought or the information that you are receiving, either from a third party or that you're telling yourself. So somebody comes to you, oh, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Think about that. Think about whether that is a truthful thing or whether that is one person's opinion or perhaps mass opinion, or the news media or social media or any of these other ways that dispense information. Is this really truth, or is this just opinion gone wild that is now being stated as fact? If it feels off to you in your heart, it probably is. But if you fear the outcome, if you really get, oh my gosh, I'm really concerned, don't hide. Instead, go to the source. Go to the Creator and just say, I need help. Please show me how to handle this situation. Please show me what I can do about this. Then do what you can from where you are with what you have. Let's say you have $1 in your pocket. Don't try to go buy $100 solution. It's not going to work. You've got $1. That's what you have. So you must figure out what you can do with that $1 to move yourself forward. Don't sit in the corner and say, oh, I wish I had $100. If I had $100, my life would be better. No, I have $1. What can I do with this $1 that will make my situation better? When you're actively searching for answers, you'll find them. Get rid of that limiting belief. Get into the heart. Do the work to clear it out, to remind yourself that you are safe and loved. Connect with Source for the answer. And always allow yourself to grow from every situation. Every situation has a silver lining. There's something there that you can learn, that you can walk away from it and say to yourself, oh, wow, I'm glad I experienced that because now I know what not to do or how to handle myself in that situation. Or I'm so delighted I had that situation because I didn't realize how strong I was, how much I knew, how much I've grown. So let's do a 30-day challenge. I know we've got a lot of these going on, so I'm keeping you busy. Let's do a 30-day challenge to move ahead fearlessly, even if what you're offering isn't perfect or
even if the situation you're in does not appear to be perfect. Remember, we want you to do the best, not complain that you don't have enough or that you're not capable. Do what you can and call that your best. However, if it's not your best, redo it and do better. And I told you that my angels, like within 2 seconds of me saying, hey, can you throw me an example, either for me, where I'm doing it, or, where somebody else is experiencing this so I can have a great story to tell? It wasn't 2 seconds. And I started having a really damning conversation with myself. I was thinking about the class that I'm going to be presenting. And I was so excited about the class. I loved all of the subject material. It's something I work with every day. I can't wait to share it. And then I thought about the computer. And I started giving myself a list of can'ts. Oh, I can't do well when I'm working on in this platform. I don't do well at that. I mean, I had a laundry list of things that I don't do well on the computer. I am not the greatest computer person. Oh, well, you know what? I am learning. I'm getting better. And if all I can do is do the best I can with the knowledge that I have, I'm going to choose to be proud of myself instead of condemning myself for, oh, look how long it's taking you. Oh my gosh. Don't you remember how to do that? You did it before. You forgot. Oh, you should really write this down. Oh, this is terrible. Why don't you get these things fixed? Oh, yeah. This whip. Get the whip out. Get the whip out. Get the whip out. It was incredible how many complaints I had about my ability to take this information and put it into the computer. I eventually get it done. Maybe it doesn't look as beautiful as someone else could have done it, but it was the best that I could do at that moment. So it was just amazing that no sooner had I said, hey, show me an example of when I'm using this as an excuse or when I'm really applying it well, that I had a laundry list of, first of all, that was going to prevent me from getting started. I was going to procrastinate putting together or letting people know about this class because I didn't want to do the computer work of presenting it. I didn't want to remember how to format the buttons and how to make the page and how to do all the stuff. So I was going to procrastinate and perhaps not even offer this class this weekend. And what a terrible disservice I would have done to all of you and to myself by not sharing this information. It is information that everybody really should have at their fingertips because it will make life so much easier. But remember also, I told you that story about when I was teaching, and I can remember as clear as day, even though it's been years and years and years since I've been in the classroom, one of my favorite students, because he just had a huge personality, larger than life personality. He used to tell me all the time, I can't do that. He could do it. I had just taught it. He didn't want to do it. He may not have understood it perfectly. But if he was not in the mood where he wanted to apply himself, he would say, I'm doing the best I can, but I can't do it. It was a total lie. It just meant, I don't really feel like working right now, and I'm hoping that you're not going to make me. And so he would mosey on up to my desk and tell me, I can't do this, and try to turn his paper in. First of all, that never worked, but he was too quick. He would come in like 2 seconds. He didn't give it enough time to even barely put his name on the paper, and there he was at my desk trying to turn it in. But he forgot that we had a policy in that classroom that you would do your work over and over again until you got 100. So I don't think he thought that one through, because as soon as he announced he can't do it and he was doing the best that he could, he got an opportunity to do it again with help, but an opportunity to do it as many times as necessary to get his 100. So he didn't get out of any work. But he had a great time entertaining me and coming up with all these excuses for why he wasn't going to be able. So, who's got something for me? Who wants to share a time or a circumstance that feels like you might be in over your head and you want to tell yourself, I want to quit, that I'm doing the best I can, but I can't find traction? Let's solve your problem together. Let's find a solution together. And if you don't have an issue, or you just kind of feel stuck on your spiritual journey right now, or you're maybe in between places and you really wish somebody was there to guide you, join us this Sunday, 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. All the information is on my website, marciamartinthehearthealer.com. The name of the class is 7 Tools for Spiritual Success. It's 7 of the most essential and powerful tools for spiritual success. I'm going to make sure that you understand how to apply each of these tools with and without me. I do everything a little bit differently, the way that feels best to me. And most of what I do is with assistance. So we're going to look at the ways that you can get assistance. But if that's difficult for you in the beginning, how can you do it, just you, yourself, and I, by yourself, without being able to hear, see, or feel the angels around you? You'll get there to be able to recognize their presence and do something with the information they're sharing with you. But in the meantime, I want to make sure that you have the tools that you need in order to begin where you are with what you have and move forward. So, anybody have a question or a concern that is in their life right now, or want to ask me about the class that I'm going to be presenting? As I said, it was so fantastic. It has become so magnificent that I had to split it into 2 parts. But any questions or concerns about something that's going on in your life right now, it's *2 to raise your hand. *2 if you want to share anything that's going on, or even better, how about sharing a success? Something that's going really well for you. Because remember, we're a community, and when you succeed and you share your success with us, not only does it raise the communal vibration of the group, but it encourages everyone and makes us feel like, wow, if she could do it or he could do it, I can do it too. While you're thinking about whether you have a question, I'll share one more story with you. I remember when I was first setting out on my journey, my counseling journey. Before I ever allowed myself to move forward in this direction, I thought about it all the time. I was working a job that I was okay. Certainly wasn't my purpose, but it was a job. And I would share with some of my coworkers what I wanted to do. And they looked at me like, you? But you're doing this job. What in the heck? You think you could do something like that? And I allowed that to hold me back. I didn't have my confidence in place. I didn't have myself mentally, emotionally, or spiritually in a strong place. I just knew that I wanted to do this work and that I wanted to share. So I began a conversation with myself. Well, I'll do it later. And I really dove even deeper into my own spiritual journey and began to really blossom. This was probably 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago now. So I really began to blossom in that area. And people began to notice and say, wow, your attitude is really fabulous. And wow, you're really doing some amazing stuff. But nobody was taking me up on this whole counseling thing. I stayed in that job for a long time. Didn't really like it, but it was something that I could do well. It was, again, sort of a teaching, helping, educating type of job. Then that business got sold and that job disappeared. So I got another job. And that was okay, and then not great, and then really not good. And I kept talking about what I was going to do. And finally, the bottom dropped out of my world. And we ended up moving to California, which was the best thing that ever happened for me. But during this time, I was still, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Never doing it, but I'm going to do this. And looking at the roadblocks more than any kind of truth or just setting all these limitations in place. So I came to California and I got another job. And I then began really sharing with people what I wanted to do and about the angels and really coming out of my shell. And I got more and more excited about it. But I was getting the same response. You're going to do that? But, look what you're doing now. Nothing, nowhere close. And the job disappeared. I had made excuses for so long that Source decided, okay, this girl needs some help. She needs to really get a kick in the butt. Job disappeared, and suddenly I couldn't find work. I had nothing except a dream. So then I said, okay, well, I'll just practice on some people. So I started practicing on people, and they kept trying to pay me because they kept saying, oh, you're changing my life. Thank you so much. I kept saying, no, don't pay me. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I don't know. Okay. Then they started referring other people. And then I had to say, oh my gosh. Okay, I've done all these free people. I really need to begin making money now. My free people wanted to pay because they felt that their life had been changed by what I was able to share with them. Now I've got these new people calling. They're taking up an incredible amount of my time. I've got to set a price. And so I charged a small amount, uncomfortable naming even that price. Most people paid me more than what I asked because they could see the amount of work that I was doing. And then that continued to evolve. And suddenly I realized, oh my gosh, I need to understand business. I really don't understand business. And this thing is exploding. I need to have set principles and guidelines and prices and a presence on the internet. Well, that took me spinning off in another direction because I'm really not great with computers. And I didn't want to do that. But of course, they sent me friends in the form of angels in the form of friends, to help me work my way through a blog and then Facebook and then Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest. And I realized we cannot stay in our corner, holding on to what we used to know and say it's good enough for today. We have to continue growing. We have to keep growing on our spiritual journey and also in our physical journey. We can't just allow our bodies to be things that we inhabit. Allow that body to keep growing in its glory. Yes, we're going to age. Yes, we're going to encounter situations when the body may not want to work correctly. Do it anyway. Move forward. Learn what the body needs and give the body whatever it is. Do it. Continue to grow. Intellectually, continue to grow. Allow yourself to be intellectually curious throughout your life, not just in the spiritual. Growing spiritually is absolutely fantastic, but allow yourself to be intellectually curious throughout your life. Explore new fields, especially those fields that you felt were really difficult for you when you were in school, or the thing that you hated the most, or that you were afraid that when you had to take the test, that if you were going to fail anything, it would be this class. Go back and explore that. You don't have to go back and explore it on a graduate level. Go back and explore it in the storybook baby level, when in the child section of the library. Learn about it. You'll be so amazed at how much you already know, and it will be so exciting to watch yourself grow. That's the beauty of living this life, of coming here into a physical body. There are so many challenges and so many opportunities for growth. And so say yes to all of them. That material that you didn't understand when you were in school, take a look at it again, or go deeper and deeper and deeper into the field of study that you've chosen, into the area of expertise that feels good to you. The only thing I ask, and this is the elementary school teacher in me again, don't get so one-sided in the information that you're focused on. So if you have a real interest, let's say in science, please don't just study science to the exclusion of all else. Just like feeding your body. When you feed your mind, open to as many different teachings and thoughts and ways of viewing different subjects as you can. You don't want to only have a body, have a diet that consumes only, let's say, hamburger. Think how boring that would be. Instead, we eat a wide variety of things. Even if you are in a particular diet that says that you won't eat one type of food, there is still a huge variety of food to choose from. And your body needs the variety, the different minerals and vitamins contained in the different foods. Your mind needs that kind of intellectual stimulation as well. So let's say you love science. Don't limit your study just to science. Instead, look at history. Look at math. Science and math are beautifully dovetailed. There's usually a mathematical equation that explains why this particular phenomena is true in science. Also, look at not English language, but literature or books. Just read, expand your mind, consume as much information as you can. Not only will it help you on your spiritual journey, it will make all of life seem a lot more fun. Let's say that you have a particular passion with animals, and you have one passion with, let's say it's training dogs. But just don't limit your study. Absolutely, I want you to be the best dog trainer you could ever be. But don't limit your study just to dogs. Explore all of the other animals and what they respond to or how they interact with each other. Yes, learn everything you can about the dog, but look at other animals because that will help you understand the dog. That is one animal, but not the only animal. Same thing when you're studying people. Study some psychology. Get into what makes us tick, what things move us forward, what are our greatest fears, what are the things that we're trying to avoid, or those things which light us up. You're just going to make life that much more interesting. But now I've been talking for a really long time, and I want to make sure, star 2, that if anybody has something that they want to add or a problem that we can help you solve, that you don't walk away sad and lonely. You're part of a community. And speaking of communities, don't forget our group on Facebook, Heal Our Hearts. Please feel free to join, to invite other people to join, and to participate. Not just putting a heart or a thumbs up on a picture, but adding your comments and your input, or saying, ouch, I really need help, I really need prayer, I really need somebody to listen to me, or give me an opinion, or support me in this thing. We are social beings. We function better when we are in social environments and we are supported by those environments. This group, Heal Our Hearts, is designed to do just that. It's our Facebook group. All you need is a Facebook account in order to join. So please check it out if you like what you see. Ask to join, and then bring your friends. The more people that are interacting, the more everyone will be able to get out of each interaction. So we have Heal Our Hearts on Facebook. This call and many others are on YouTube, Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, on YouTube. And you will see lots and lots and lots of calls just like this one. In addition, I'm going to be recording some shorter things just on different subjects, different spiritual subjects. But anytime you feel confused about something, put on one of these talks and listen to what the guides have to say. Hear what other people are going through. Learn from the solution they've come up with. And really get excited about where you are in your own journey because you'll realize you're not alone. So it's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer on YouTube, MarciaMartinTheHeartHealer.com. That's where you'll find the link to my class, the 7 most essential and most powerful tools for spiritual success. The class will begin this Sunday at 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. 2 hours. It's a teleseminar. You don't have to go anywhere, do anything, dress up, or be special in any way. All you have to do is have a telephone. Bring a paper and pencil, though, because you will most likely want to take notes or just jot down things that will remind you how to do these techniques easily. The first day I'm going to share 3 different things that will give you a solid foundation. Then on the second session, that following Saturday, we'll see 4 different techniques, but we will quickly review, if anybody has a concern, any of the techniques that we have been working with since Sunday. But I'm going to begin with some techniques that you can use through the week and then bring your questions on Saturday if you're having any difficulty using those techniques in any way. So everyone, thank you so much. You're all very quiet today, and that's okay. I'm going to assume that your life is going so well that you don't feel that you have the need to ask for help. And that's wonderful. And so that's all I've got today. Again, if you want to send me an email, it's Marcia, Marcia, at Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, or marciamartinthehearthealer.com. I will be sharing Sunday with all of you, and I'll see you next Wednesday. But until then, I'm sending you my love.